Hello and welcome to this drive from Eidfjord to Flåm in the Hardanger region. My name is Emma and I will be your guide for this drive. We will have a mixture of both audio and text descriptions, so sit back, relax and enjoy the scenery. Firstly, just a little bit about Eidfjord. The population is 540 and we are now located at the end of the Hardangerfjord. The village is the main area for the municipality and it's also a popular tourist destination. Eidfjord is one of the largest cruise ports in Norway. Viking Age burial mounds have been found just up the hill from the village. It is possible to hike there. The first church was built in Eidfjord in 1309 and it is still standing today, even though Eidfjord does have a newer church. So, to begin this drive, we have to make our way to Øvre Eidfjord, which is in the upper part of the town. From there, we begin our drive to the Hardangervidda Plateau. I'll come back to you a little later. We have now arrived in Øvre Eidfjord in the upper part of Eidfjord. This is a small village located on the southern end of the Eidfjord Lake. The town has a population of 200 and it serves as the last major stop before crossing the Hardangervidda Plateau. Here you can visit the Norsk Natursenter where you can learn about nature in the area. Technology is used for interactive experiences to learn about the flora and fauna of the area. There's also a lovely film about the plateau. So, after we go through Øvre Eidfjord, we start to make our way up the Måbodalen Valley. So Måbodalen, or the Måbodalen Valley, it's a unique and narrow valley that takes you from Øvre Eidfjord to the Hardangervidda Plateau. The valley is the result of ice and water having cut into slacker and more open valleys. So this valley was basically impassable before 1790, but then the bridges were built and a stairway was completed. The first road was completed in the early 20th century. The road is known for its hairpin turns, and today it's used only for cyclists and pedestrians. Luckily for us, there is a new road. The new road was completed in 1986. It's wider and it has many more tunnels to make the pass much safer. So now we make our way up Måbodalen. Lots of tunnels, but between the tunnels we'll get some spectacular views. will soon see Fossli Hotel, which is a historic hotel overlooking the valley, and Voringsfossen. It was built by Ole Garen, who saw the potential of the area and the introduction of tourists. Before the hotel, there was only a walking path up to the valley with 1,500 stairs. Thanks to the hotel, a new road was built through the valley instead. All of the materials to build the hotel had to be carried by horseback up to the top of the hill. Today, the hotel is run by the great-grandson of Ole Garen, Erik Garen. So this is where you can stop and take photos of Voringsfossen, which is the 83rd highest waterfall in Norway. That doesn't sound impressive, but Voringsfossen is really well known for its setting. It has a drop of 182 meters or 597 feet. It is possibly the most famous waterfall in the country. It was hardly known to anyone besides the locals until 1821, when Professor Christopher Hansteen estimated the height of the waterfall. He was on his way to Hardangervidda to make astronomical observations at the time, and he estimated the height by throwing stones down the edge. The real height was realized by using string. He was off just a little bit. In 2020, a new pedestrian bridge opened across Voringsfossen. It was placed in sections by helicopter. It has received a lot of criticism, with a lot of people describing it as being quite ugly. So we're now driving towards Fossli Hotel, and this is where you'll find the big car park. There is a picture of what the bridge looks like that everyone seems to dislike so much. Once we get to the big car park, you can then park your car for free, and you can walk over towards the platform. So Hardangervidda is a well-known mountain plateau that spreads across parts of western, central, eastern and southern Norway. It is the largest plateau of its kind in Europe and has a cold year-round alpine climate. The highest point reaches just over 1,700 metres high. The landscape is characterised by barren, treeless moorland with lakes, rivers and streams. The western side that we are on is much rockier, while the eastern side is much flatter. The geology is extremely ancient, and we are still below the tree line. Settlements from the Stone Age have been found in the area. The people who lived here were likely linked to the reindeer migration. Additionally, there are ancient trails across the plateau. Hardangervidda is still an important route between east and west, and this is the way across Highway 7. The Hardangervidda Plateau is above the tree line. The alpine climate means that there are Arctic animals and plants here, such as the Arctic fox. There is also a large wild reindeer herd here with about 10,000 reindeer, though that fluctuates quite a lot. In 1981, most of it was designated as a national park. The Norwegian Mountain Touring Association has a network of huts and paths across the plateau, and there are 2 visitor centres. So the Star Wars movie, called The Empire Strikes Back, was shot on Hardangervidda. The plateau provided the basis for the Hoth sequences. So enjoy the drive to Hardangervidda. I will come back to you as we're getting closer towards Geilo. have just arrived in Viken County, which means we are technically in eastern Norway. It might not be called Viken County when you come here. The county was established in 2020 when 3 separate counties were merged. However, in 2022, a vote was put that saw the decision to split Viken be finalised, so it will be split up again in the near future. For purposes of this video, I'm going to talk about the county that this one will most likely become, which is called Buskerud. So Buskerud County is an historically important county in Norway. The area around Ringerike was likely a small kingdom, and Norway's kings Olav Tryggvason and Olav Haraldsson grew up in Ringerike. Olav Tryggvason is the man who founded Trondheim, and Olav Haraldsson is considered to be the one who Christianized Norway, and today he is the patron saint of Norway. Now, the first element of the name Busker refers to bishop, while the last element means farm, or clearing. Historically, the bishop's farm was one of the largest in Buskerud and was important during the Reformation. The farm became property of the Danish crown and served as the residence for the king's bailiffs until 1668. Agriculture, lumber, wood pulp mills, and other related industries are the county's main economic activities. There is a lot of hydropower thanks to the rivers Begna and Rons. Buskerud also has a large forested area. We have now arrived in Geilo, which is one of the main skiing areas in Norway. It is actually one of the first and now most popular ski resorts in the country. The town is located in the Hallingdal Valley at roughly the halfway point on the Bergen to Oslo railway. Geilo is noted for being the first ski resort in Norway, and it was built up after the opening of the railway in 1909. The ski season here lasts from late October until late April, and there are numerous small ski centres that make up one resort called the Geilo Ski Centre. In addition to 39 downhill slopes, there is 220 kilometres of ski trails. In the town centre you'll find some shops, a supermarket, some restaurants, and around 2,500 people who live here all year round. That means there is a school, cinema, library, and police station. We will keep driving east. Very soon we're going to turn around and start to make our way towards Western Norway again. We are now in Hagafoss, which is where we're going to turn around and make it back into Western Norway. As you can see, the landscape is quite different from where we were in Eidfjord, because we're now in the rolling hills of the east. This is where we have to turn around, following signs towards Aurland. have now crossed back into Western Norway and we're in the municipality of Aurland. This includes the popular villages of Aurland, Flåm, Underdal and Gudvangen. It is also home to the UNESCO World Heritage listed Narrow Fjord. People have been living here for at least 2,000 years. The coat of arms depicts a goat's head because that is the symbol of the municipality. Goat's cheese is very famous from this region. So very soon we're going to make our way down Aurlandsdalen, or the Aurland Valley. At the moment we're back at the top of the mountains, practically above the tree line. after going down those hairpin turns, we have made it to Aurlandsdalen, which was carved out by glaciers. It is considered to be one of the most beautiful and best examples of Norwegian nature. The route was the shortest route between western and eastern Norway in prehistoric times, and there are a number of very old farms in the valley. As we went down, we saw those huge power lines because the Aurland river system has been developed for power production. This has greatly changed how the valley operates, and that is also why we have all of the tunnels cutting through the valley. The river can no longer be used for salmon fishing, for example. Also, the farmers no longer drive their livestock up the mountain. Many people use Aurlandsdalen as a popular day hike. It takes up to 7 hours, or you can hike all the way to Finse in 3 to 4 days. So we will bypass the little village of Aurland, and then we'll be making our way towards Flåm. We have now arrived in our final destination for this drive, which is Flåm. This has a small population of about 300 people, but it is one of the most visited places in Norway thanks to the famous Flåm Railway. It is also located at the end of the Aurlandsfjord. we have now made it to the end of this drive. I really hope you enjoyed this scenic drive between Eidfjord and Flåm via the Hardangervidda Plateau and the Aurland Valley. It is definitely a drive I would recommend if you want to see the best of the nature, but maybe get a little bit away from tourists. So be sure to read the written version of this guide at thehiddennorth.com, and thank you once again for watching.